Hey everybody, Blake T. Wild here, and welcome to the Comic Schtick podcast, the podcast where comics are my shtick. Of course, my name is Blake T. Wild, and welcome back after another hiatus. I am back. I am ready to talk about San Diego Comic-Con. Nope, New York Comic-Con is what I meant to say. I'm going to talk about Rob Liefeld, because I experienced something with Rob Liefeld online that was just insane to see. I'm also talking about DC's new Absolute Comics, because for some reason I've just skipped out on Ultimate Marvel, the new universe, the new Ultimate Marvel universe, and I have gone into Absolute DC just to see what it's like. Of course, just all the news from New York Comic Con, like I said at the top, and quite a lot, because I'm fallen behind. Last episode was a month or two ago, I think. What happened? I had YumaCon. That's what happened over the weekend in early October, so I was getting ready for that. I've been working on the Custodians Agents of Cross, my 6-issue giant-size comic series, which you can read the first 2 issues of now on my Patreon, and you can order the first 2 issues now on my Etsy shop if you want the physical copies of the books, and every purchase of a comic on my Etsy shop comes with a free head sketch of any character of your choosing. So check that out if you want the physical books. Of course, like I said, Patreon has the high-quality digital releases uploaded onto there. But I, this week, finished inking the final page of issue 6. So all 6 issues are fully done. I now just have to do the rigorous process of scanning, coloring, editing, lettering, and everything else, putting the book together. And this almost 10-year experience of my life will be over once that happens. I came up with the Custodians when I was in high school, and that was about almost 10 years ago now. And I am just now finishing the 6th issue. So anyway, I did have YumaCon. I attended again this year. It's 4th year going, I believe. Of course, I had Tucson Comic Con a couple months ago as well. YumaCon went well. It was a lot better situated and set up than last year. They really got a hold on the situation. I think it was new people who took over last year and didn't really know what they were doing. But this year is much better. Had a better turnout. I made more sales and whatnot this year. I held a panel again this year. I did that 2 years ago, I think, called The Magick of Comics, which is my sort of helter-skelter discussion of the history of comics. That part of the panel I didn't really have very fleshed out or planned. But then I get into discussing the actual creation of comics, what goes into making comics, storytelling, the art form of it, and the pure magic that is storytelling and art, and my sort of personal, esoteric, occultish beliefs. And you can check out the entire panel on my YouTube channel. You can actually check out both panels on the YouTube channel. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is some sort of landscaping man working. I thought they were done because they didn't make any noise for about 2 hours. Don't know why. They used to do it on Mondays. Every Monday, I would come home and I would forget that they did the landscaping at the apartment complex on Mondays. And I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go record. I'm going to do this and that. Just right outside of our building for hours. And now they've seemingly switched it to Thursdays. And I didn't realize that. And I was going to record earlier, and then I didn't because I heard him out there. So I watched Taskmaster Minnesota Season 2. Highly recommend it. But I'll just ring it out with my own loud, obnoxious voice. Which, speaking of my loud, obnoxious voice, like I said, you can listen to you can watch the panel Magick of Comics from this past year at the YumaCon convention on my YouTube channel. It's a pretty recent upload. Just type Magick of Comics panel. You'll probably find both of them, but obviously the more recent one is the more fleshed out, I'd say. And I had a really good turnout. I actually had people who wanted to take some selfies with me afterward, which was crazy. Had a good questions, great audience. People really seemed to engage with what I was saying, or they were just being nice. I'm not too sure. I didn't have to pay anyone to be there again. But yeah, I really would like to recommend it to you because I think it was a really fun panel, and I really had a great time. I am thinking of submitting the panel to Tucson Comic Con for next year to see if I can sneak my way into a panel room at Tucson Comic Con and hold a discussion panel. Maybe trick some people who are into Magic the Gathering into going to the Magic of Comics like I did previously. After that, however, 1 week after YumaCon, my wife and I went to Disneyland for the Oogie Boogie Bash. We went to Disneyland. What, did they leave for lunch or something? Where did they go for like the past 2 hours? Because they stopped. There was nothing going on. And now they're back. Right as I started doing this. He's like right outside my fucking window. And we're back. Seemingly they have stopped. So, now, where was I? Disney. That's right. We went to Disneyland. We took a trip to Disney. We drove over there. It was about 5-6 hour long drive. Thankfully, we left in the early mid-afternoon, about 4. So by the time we got there, it was pitch black everywhere. The ocean was just a pure abyss of black. And it was about 8 or 9 p.m. Then Friday, that was on a Thursday night. Friday, we went to Disneyland. Saturday, we went to downtown Disney and just like kind of chilled for that day, rested. Forgot my days. Sunday, went to Disney's California Adventure theme park, the full title, and Oogie Boogie Bash. Now, this was my first ever time going to Disneyland. Never went. I never had any interest. Yes, I am currently making a video about the experience, and I was working on it yesterday, and I went very heavily into the research and background of Big Thunder Mountain for about a half hour. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going into this. I'm hoping to get it out before the end of October to try and correlate before Disney switches over into their Christmas mode. But you'll see all of my thoughts, every single experience. I made a very long list of notes each day about just thoughts, things that occurred, whatever should pop up and arise. So stay tuned for that, dear listener, dear viewer. But that was a fantastic time. Like I said, never been to Disney. Find out why in the upcoming video. Something along the lines of grown man's first time at Disney or something. I don't know what I'll call it yet. But I had a great time. She's a Disney fanatic, so she's been plenty of times before. She both land and world. But this was a really great experience. I had a heck of a time. Spent a lot of money, not as much as I expect. Here's something I'll let you in on that I bring up in the video. One of the most shocking things about going to Disneyland was the lack of merchandise. Every store, just about, had the exact same items for sale, except for, like, Batuu and, like, the Star Wars land area, Galaxy's Edge. That was obviously all Star Wars themed. But every other store had, like, the same basic Disney, minimalist Disney. They had these weird military-themed Disney clothes. And then, like, Halloween and Christmas. It's all the same stuff. And then, like, in World of Disney, they have a massive store called... No, wait, yeah, that's the store name, is World of Disney, in downtown Disney. That's just all of it. It's just all the same stuff. And it was just so expensive and so lifeless for merchandise. Like, I went in there being like, oh my god, what kind of cool stuff am I going to find? Because I love the Haunted Mansion, and I really wanted to get some cool Haunted Mansion-related stuff. I ended up getting a shirt, eventually, that I found in California Adventure at a random store that I saw nowhere else. So that was the one piece of merchandise that is apparently only relegated to this one store in the other park. But that was the biggest shock to me. I expected Disney to have more of a cornucopia, more of a buffet of merchandise to pick from. Maybe buffet is a better definition of it, because it's really just slopped out all of the same stuff everywhere you go. But that occurred, and that took up about 4 days or so, lead up. And then New York Comic Con happened. So I was like, well, fuck, I guess I'll put off the podcast a little more and just build up all of that stuff that's happening to get the news in there just so I can talk about it. And that is where we are today, ladies and gentlemen, or mostly gentlemen based on my analytics. Let's get right off the bat with Liefeld stuff. There's some news that came out regarding Rob Liefeld and his upcoming projects that happened after I made these notes about something I witnessed online with Rob Liefeld. So, Rob Liefeld will return to write and illustrate a Youngblood title for Image Comics, which will publish next year, 2025, marking his first work of the property in 7 years, and he is working with Image co-founder Scott Mitchell Rosenberg, who oversees the property for the rights holder, RIP Media or RIP Media. So Youngblood was this whole thing. The rights got sold to some random jack-off in like the 90s or the early 2000s. So Rob Liefeld has not had anything to do with Youngblood at all for probably close to 20 years. Like, I just said he worked on something, but like he doesn't own it. Obviously, the RIP Media does, whatever that means. Youngblood. Who gives a shit? Not this guy. As much as I admire Rob Liefeld for persevering and sticking it to people who didn't believe in him because his art style looks different, I've never had an issue with Rob Liefeld's art. I personally enjoy it. I love the coloring. I have a whole video going over Rob Liefeld's X-Force #1 where his sycophants came after me because they thought I was lying about my enjoyment of it. And Rob Liefeld got mad at me and deleted my post from his Facebook group, and it was very funny to watch because, like, they're just so... Rob Liefeld and his fans are so paranoid about people and dissent against his work because it's just been, it's been constant for 20-something years, over 30 years. So even if there's someone like me who actually likes it and is going out of my way to explain why and why I think it's cool and how it works and this and that, like I do in that cover-to-cover comics video on X-Force #1, even then, they don't believe it, and they must be a lie, and I must be making fun of them in some form or fashion. It was insane to see, but... who cares about Youngblood? Youngblood was a fucking failure story-wise. Rob Liefeld, you listen to 1 episode of his podcast, you listen to 8 episodes of his podcast, every time he's going to tell you how many books he's sold. Neglecting to note the bubble that it was, the collecting bubble of the 90s. But it's just such a nothing story. It was meant to be... This is a team of superheroes who are also celebrities, and how does that impact their daily lives? How does that impact how they're superheroes? You want to read a story, a fantastic comic, where the main group are an eclectic assortment of superheroes with weird powers and abilities who are also celebrities and dealing with that celebrity lifestyle? Go read X-Force, Ecstatic, and Excellent by Milligan and Allred. Peter Milligan, Mike Allred. They did Youngblood far better. And even in the original, I can't remember if it's in X-Force when they were still on X-Force or if it's after it was relabeled to X-Statics, they have a character that is obviously a Rob Liefeld parody who buys up the X-Statics brand and is like in charge of everything. It's like the first season would be the X-Force stuff, and then the Rob Liefeld character comes in, buys it out, and rebrands it, and does all this stuff, and makes it X-Statix, and then that's the big continuation of the series. And it is so well done. It is everything Youngblood said it would have been, but with actual people who know how to tell a story. So, I don't care about Youngblood, but what I do want to talk about is I discovered a couple weeks ago that Rob Liefeld... Oh, actually, before I continue, there is a quote I have right here from Rob about the Youngblood thing. I almost missed some stuff, so I apologize. Quote, "It's so great that I can run into the comfort of characters that I created that launched a movement. They carry such history. I love Youngblood so much. These characters are my absolute passion." So that's what Rob Liefeld said about this reboot or whatever, this continuation. If anything, it's going to be like, oh, it's actually 30 years later and the characters have aged up and maybe there's a new young generation of hip, new, swinging characters. And in addition to that, there will also be a Youngblood Vault Edition, similar to the Spawn Vault Editions and the Savage Dragon Vault Edition, which are massive books like this big. I have both Spawn books down here at my desk, but I'm not going to grab them because they're just too unyieldy. So that is going to be published as well. The thing I discovered about Rob Liefeld is that he does... There's this service, this app, this website called Whatnot, which is, I guess, kind of like, how do I describe it? It's like TikTok, but if you want to, like, it's like TikTok meets eBay, I guess, where it's just a bunch of live streams of people selling crap, and I guess you just bid on stuff, but it's live, I guess. I don't know, but he's been doing that. I keep seeing his advertisements for it on Instagram and everything. But he also started doing eBay live streams to get some extra dosh. And I watched one of them for about 4 hours. And here are my notes for Rob Liefeld's first ever eBay live stream, which you can find online. I don't remember how. You gotta find the guy's username. It's somewhere in my internet history, so I can always go and download it if I want to rewatch it, I guess. But I do know that these are rewatchable. So, oh my god. I haven't looked at this since I wrote them. But here's the thing. So, in this live stream, a guy in the user, or a user in the chat called Stan the Man was his username, won a book, and Rob Liefeld started doing an impression of Stan Lee. Hey, you true believers! You know, like that. And it's an impression of Stan Lee racing out of the bowels of hell because he fucked everyone over, and he starts begging Jack Kirby to save his soul and let him into heaven. It's one of the fucking weirdest things I've ever seen. Because he's just sitting there talking to himself, doing the Stan Lee impression. And then he starts doing the Jack Kirby one, too. And it's like, what is it? What the fuck are you doing, man? And it's exactly what I just told you it was. It was insane, but it gets crazier. Because like I said, I watched this thing for like 4 hours. So, Rob Liefeld announces his birthday is the following week and starts singing the Little Rascals' birthday song. He gets mad about a guy in the chat making drawing feet jokes. Look, I get that. That's such a fucking overdone joke. It's not funny. It's just, it's dumb. Like, ooh, we get it. He didn't want to draw feet. Fucking Mike Mignola doesn't like drawing feet. Most artists don't like drawing feet. I don't get it. Then he starts playing Photograph by Def Leppard for a while, and he listens to that and kind of sings along to it while he's just sitting there. Like, he has a little like mechanical arm thing that he puts the comic on and hangs it. Like, he'll do fancy little signatures or regular signatures. Like, he puts the book that they're auctioning off, like like sort of, like, I'm trying to fucking figure it out how, like, it's kind of hangs like right here and he's in the background, you know? So he's just fucking signing random stuff as this thing happens. Oh, that's right, there was another guy there the whole time with him. And that guy is a CGC witness. So that's the guy who was running the whole thing. You can kind of see him in the background when he's sitting down. And like every time they sell a comic, the guy has to get up and go put a sticky note on with the person's name and like put it in a pile. And then he goes and sits back down and they start up the next auction. And it's just a non-stop, just that all the time. Rob Liefeld's also sitting in a beanbag this whole time, by the way, which was not revealed until very late in the stream that he was sitting on a beanbag. Let's see, what's next? Rob Liefeld starts talking about how it works with the CGC stuff and notes that even after you win or buy a CGC whatever for the book, you have to then pay more fees on top of that to get it graded and like sent through the company. He announces that he's going to do some Superman stuff when it goes to public domain. Who isn't? I am. Also, he claims then that he is not doing any work for Marvel after this point, which is like the 5th time he's done that in the past 4 years. Someone spent $482 on a New Mutants reprint with Rob's chisel signature, and then Rob starts singing a song with the guy's username. So his chisel signature, it's a chunkier version. It's like a stylized version of his signature. It's just Liefeld, but it looks like it's been chiseled into the book, kind of. It's not that bad of a look, but it costs more for some reason. Then he starts talking shit about Ryan Seacrest and calls him a half-assed Casey Kasem. If you don't know, Casey Kasem voiced, who did he voice? Was he Shaggy? I'm going to use my one Google to double check that. Yeah, Casey Kasem, who voiced Shaggy in the original Scooby-Doo cartoon. He was also a long-running shock jock DJ. That's how he made his name, is that he was like a radio announcer. He was a DJ for radio stations. Then he started, out of nowhere, he starts doing both John Travolta and Arnold and Schwarzenegger impressions. Then he begins comparing himself to Taylor Swift about how she/he don't need the money that they're making on these things that they're doing, but they want to. He loves sharing the art with the fans. And like he goes about like, oh, she doesn't need to do all these tours and make all this money because she has enough money, and he doesn't need to do all these eBay auctions and whatnot auctions because he has more than enough money, but he just loves sharing the art with the fans. The screenwriter is apparently starting or has started the Evangeline thing at the beginning of October, and Rob expects a draft of the script the following week, so maybe he got that already. Then here is a list of what's available to during this auction. So, a Liefeld Certificate of Authenticity costs $35 additional dollars, added on seemingly to whatever you purchase. 5 CGC signature books are $425. 4 CGC signature books, $345. 3 books, $265. 2 books, $205, and 1 CGC signature book is $115. A CGC update signature, whatever the fuck that is $35. Liefeld chisel signature on whatever is $70. A drop shadow chisel signature is $90. A blood splatter chisel signature is $100. Rob Liefeld Deadpool Team Up variant foil cover is $120. That was just some of the things that they just sort of had ready to go, because otherwise it was just like kind of random eclectic things that they had just like on the auction. Rob starts talking shit about the CGC guy's username. It was like, it's O-Ring Monkey. That's what it was. That's the username. O-Ring Monkey. Which is like something to do with like airsoft or something. I thought it would be like the old G.I. Joe toys. You know how they, if you're unfamiliar, like the ones from the original ones from the 80s, the way they worked essentially is that the torso and the legs were kept together by a little plastic sort of rubbery ring called an O-ring, and that would go in the groin of the figure and then be enclosed inside. And that's what I thought it would be referenced to. No, turns out the guy, the CGC guy, just has an eBay account where he sells airsoft equipment. So yeah, Rob Liefeld shits on that guy non-stop. What's next? Then he starts asking the chat what everyone's favorite hamburger is and where it's from, and he tries to text and then call a family member of his to ask them about a burger place. The family member is in Florida when the first hurricane was hitting. This was like the night of that first hurricane, not Helene, the one right before it. And he's texting, trying to call this person who's like bunkering down for a fucking hurricane, trying to ask him about a burger place. Then he says, quote, this is a real Rob Liefeld quote, "You can't escape me, I'm like your nightmare." God, I need to watch this again. This is like the best comedy movie I've ever seen. Rob Liefeld, then he realizes that he might not have closed his garage door, so he has the CGC guy go check it for him. And then this is the point where it's revealed that he's been sitting on a beanbag this whole time. And then he starts berating a viewer in the chat for asking if they'll put out another aviation gin bottle with a Deadpool drawing on it. That's right. They just had so fucking random shit. One of which was an aviation gin bottle that he drew a Deadpool head on, because aviation gin is Ryan Reynolds' thing. It's like an empty bottle. So you can buy an empty bottle of aviation gin with a Rob Liefeld drawing on it. And they did one of them, and they sold it, and then Rob Liefeld just starts berating this dude for like, well, why didn't you bid on it earlier, huh, you stupid ass? Like, like just calling him an idiot for not trying to spend money on that aviation gin bottle that they already put up. Then he starts signing a cereal box that's Deadpool themed. He sings a whole jingle about shit flakes, which is the Deadpool cereal or something. I don't know where this thing came from. A fluorescent black light Funko Pop thing started at $125, and the auction, which lasted about 30 seconds, that's about the average of how long they would last, like 15 to 30 seconds, it ended at $265. Then he listens to the theme from SWAT. He starts talking about air conditioning and swamp coolers for quite some time. And then, oh my god, I forgot about this. Then he sticks his toes and feet up against the camera. And he's going, oh baby. Like, he's putting his like toes and feet like right up against the camera and going, ooh baby. No one then talks for a while. He just sits in silence with the CGC guy in the background. It's getting late at this point. It's getting quite late. I'm only one state over. I'm in Arizona, so we were in the same time zone. And about this time, it was about 10 p.m. or so, and you could tell Rob was getting sleepy. He's doing a signature, and the CGC guy is just silently, you can hear his little laptop in the background. It's the only noise. That and the air conditioner. Then he gets angry that the clip that he's using, the clip system, isn't holding the items, and he threatens the clip. The CGC guy running the stream, who has been sitting behind him in the leather chair the whole time, and then, yeah, he gets up and grabs the book, puts his laptop down, puts it aside for Rob, returns, puts his laptop back, blah, blah, blah. And Rob just keeps lambasting this poor bastard about his username over and over again, and the guy has to be like, yeah. I don't know what this means. One Man Planet of the Apes show? Oh, that's right. He starts doing Dr. Zaius impressions and Charlton Heston impressions and, like, just reciting the movie. Oh, and then he starts talking about how hot Nova was and, like, how much he wants to fuck her. And it's the same 8 or so people who bid on every fucking one of these items, and it's like the same 4 guys who keep winning. And I was watching this with a buddy, and we were just typing to each other like, what the fuck is going on? And he says that, pretty aptly, Rob has pay pigs. His wife finally gets home at like 10-something p.m. and he like kind of gets like uppity with her, like, oh, well, where were you? Like, why? It was such a weird exchange. I don't know what the fuck it was about. Like, he tried to call her, she went out with her friends or something, and she didn't pick up. And I was like, what am I watching right now? They put a comic up. Oh my god, this was hilarious. They put a comic up for $10 by accident. It was meant to be $100, and Rob was so pissed off at the CGC guy for doing that. And by this time, it was 11 p.m., and I had to go to work the next morning at 4 a.m., so I had to stop watching, but I did not want to. And that was my experience watching Rob Liefeld's first ever eBay live stream. I highly recommend, just follow him on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media, and just wait for him to post. I think he does them every Saturdays or something they established. This was on like a Wednesday night. Fucking highly worth it. Get high, drink a little, whatever. Do a Rob Liefeld watch party. Because it's so fucking weird and hilarious to witness. But that's the big shebang for this whole first section, I suppose. Because now we just get into some kind of normal comic book-based movie news. So I hope you enjoyed that thing. If you've watched any of his live streams, please let me know what other crazy weird shit he's done that you've witnessed. Alright, so the big news, I think, from Marvel Studios, because New York Comic Con, I like it more than San Diego, because it's actually more comic-focused. San Diego is not. But, Marvel Studios, it had no footprint at NYCC. It was mostly just the comic company itself. But we did get a piece of news from Marvel Studios and another piece from Disney, and that is that Blade has officially been removed from the 2025 release schedule, meaning that it is seemingly dead forever. Rest in peace, Blade. You got a voiceover in the Eternals. And that's it. Disney also dates Predator Badlands, a kind of sequel, I suppose, to Predator, or to Prey. Not really a sequel. I think it might be by the same guy or something to do with him. That, I think, took the spot that Blade was at in 2025. So, hey, cool new Predator movies coming instead of Blade. HBO's Lanterns officially announced some of their cast. Jon Stewart is played by Aaron Pierre, who looks fucking incredible. He has the most outstanding eyes I've ever seen. And Kyle Chandler plays Hal Jordan. I'm not familiar with either of them, but Kyle Chandler, I recognize the name. I just don't know from what. But I'm very excited. I love Green Lantern. I dig the characters. Controversial opinion, I love Green Lantern Mosaic, the comic by a sex offender. Which, if you can look past that, and just sneak it by, it's one of the most creative Green Lantern books that there's ever been. It was the best-selling Green Lantern book until Jeff Johns' run, actually. It's a really cool series. It's just that the creator was a horrible person. Let's see. Christopher Nolan announced he didn't announce, this is a rumor. His next film is going to be a period piece horror about vampires in the 1920s. We're getting Robert Eggers' Nosferatu film, which I am highly excited for. I love Robert Eggers. And now we're getting maybe a Christopher Nolan vampire movie? If Blade wasn't canceled, I would say that we're in a Vampirnaissance. It's rumored to star Tom Holland and Matt Damon. I'm all for more Matt Damon, and I'd like to see Tom Holland do something that's interesting. DC Studios, or whatever they're called, also announced Dynamic Duo, which is Robin's origin story. It's kind of animated movie, which is coming from DC Studios. It follows Dick Grayson and Jason Todd as orphan thieves who call themselves the Dynamic Duo. It's produced by Matt Reeves and James Gunn and not set in Reeves' DC universe. Seemingly, I can't imagine it's going to be set in James Gunn's the Gunverse, the new DC universe, either, because, well, I don't know. Because we know that Damian Wayne seemingly is going to be the one, the Batman, the Robin in the Batman movie, in the Gunn universe. But with how weird this movie sounds, I don't expect it to be. It's an Elseworlds story is what I expect, because it uses a cross between CG animation, stop motion, and live action real-time performance. It is one of the most unique things I have ever seen. It's absolutely insane what the studio, who I don't have the name of, created. It's so wonderful. It almost reminds me of Guardians of Justice Will Save You, which if you are a longtime listener, longtime viewer of the podcast, you'll remember my raving, glowing review for that show. I absolutely loved it for the pure creativity that went into it. It's kind of coming across like that, like just weird, out there ideas just amalgamated into this one superhero show. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested to see what they do. There were some leaked set photos of Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir. This was my first realization that this Spider-Man Noir show that they've been talking about is live action. Was I the only one that didn't realize that? Did everybody? No one seemed surprised by that. I guess that was just me that didn't know that it was going to be a live action picture. It shows him sort of hunched over like this. I'm the real long legs. And he has like a trench coat on, and he's at like a dockyard, and then we saw like a photo of a Daily Bugle newspaper with like a green screened in square in the middle, which they're gonna superimpose something onto later. But that's interesting. I think that's... Where's that going? Is that Amazon? I feel like it's Amazon, but I don't know for sure. Because I brought this up plenty of times before. Sony just doesn't have a streaming anything. They didn't do that. They didn't go, at least not yet, thank God. We got some more word on some stuff, or well, these are rumors still, regarding Batman, The Batman Part 2, and that is that it's going to be set around Christmas or New Year's, somewhere around between. Maybe it'll be an Iron Man 3 situation. Which, if you're unfamiliar, is... When does it start? It starts at about Christmas, and then it goes until New Year's. But yeah, because the ending, when they're blowing up all of the suits, is New Year's Eve. I love that movie. It's a really good end-of-the-year movie. Maybe this one will be added to that. Maybe it'll have Mr. Freeze in it, and that's why it's set in winter. That'd be cool, I guess. I'm just imagining what a Matt Reeves toned-down, weird, stylized, pseudo-realistic version of Mr. Freeze will be like. Batman received a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Which sounds just as dumb as when I read it the first time. Who cares? I'm just going to run down this list. Salem's Lot released on Max, and I've heard middling things about it, half and half here and there about what it is in terms of quality. One of my favorite Stephen King novels, great book, highly recommend it. The original TV movie, it's like 4 hours long. It's really fucking long. It's really good as well. This one, the trailer looked fantastic, had some very nice visuals. And then we got another movie that I did see, Beetlejuice, which I was going to make a whole episode about when I saw it, but then I pushed it back because I realized I didn't feel like I had enough to say about it. it's a very enjoyable movie. I loved it. I really dug the original. I have a great time watching it. I really enjoyed this new one. I thought it was very well done. I enjoyed it far more than I expected to. But like, I just don't really have much else to say. Really liked all the performances. I liked the characters. I liked the setting. I had no issue with anything of the plot, although the plot of the movie really does make you realize how there's like just 30 years worth of ideas in this one movie, because there's so much that goes on. But yeah, there's like not much else I can really say about it. Like, it was just a fun movie. Similarly, I watched COCO for the first time. COCO, I have never seen before, like I just said, first time. 7 years after its release, I finally watched it on the whim of my wife, because this was on the Saturday before we went to DCA for Oogie Boogie's Bash, because the villain, the big white skeleton that plays the guitar, he is there as one of the characters you can see. So she was like, you need to watch COCO before we do this. So we watched COCO in our hotel room on my phone, and I cried so many times. Yeah, I love that movie. I can't believe I haven't watched it before. I don't know if it's Pixar or if it's just pure Disney, but I bring this up in the Disney video that's going to be coming out soon. I don't watch anything Disney. I've never been interested in Disney movies. I haven't... Drop my phone. I haven't seen, like, most of Disney. Like, I've never seen Lion King all the way through. I've seen parts of it. Never give a shit to watch it all the way through. Lion King 2.5 or 1.5, whatever the one is that focuses on Timon and Pumbaa, that one I've seen multiple times. But, like, all the classic Disney movies that you can probably list off, odds are I haven't watched them. But, I mean, Pixar, however, I usually see all the Pixar films, just about. But COCO, I thought, was an incredible film. I'm only 7 years late on this, I know. But I thought it was fantastic. I love the music, I love the scenery, I love the day-glow neon of the afterlife. It's a touching story, very symbolic and sad and bittersweet. The villain. Is it De La Cruz? Ernesto de la Cruz. I think that's his name. For 7 years, I've been seeing about what a great villain he is, about how threatening and scary he is. But, like, I guess, in a way, he's threatening in a sort of realistic way, in that he's a psychopathic character who gets other people to do his dirty work, kinda. Like, he poisoned a guy, sure, and he tries to kill a kid. But, like, other than that, he just kind of, like, freaks out and runs away and gets his security to take care of it for him. Like, he wasn't the villain I was expecting, especially because most of he's not in the movie much, and most of the scenes, he's not doing much villainous. Like, it's a weird build-up for that character as a villain. And I was expecting more... And then I didn't receive it. Not to say that it was I enjoy him very much as a villain. The voice actor, whoever that was, did a fantastic job. I haven't looked at any of the cast. But, yeah, it was all right. I do recommend COCO, and I do recommend Beetlejuice. That's the first one and then the second one. All right, now only an hour into this show, or so, depending on how this is edited down because of the whole fucking lawnmower incident, I'm getting into Absolute Comics. It's here! DC's Ultimate Universe is here! With Absolute Comics! Oh yeah! We are here, we're extreme, we're gritting down the grindstone and reinvented the universe of DC in a way that you never expected. And it all starts with an event called Absolute Power that has absolutely nothing to do with actual Absolute Comics universe, aside from one thing at the very fucking end. I didn't even read this event. I went through the Wikipedia page for each issue this morning, and even I'm upset. So Absolute Power Here's the thing. Amanda Waller's the villain, and this comes out from after she's doing the whole... I think she was in another universe. I think she was on, like, Earth 2 hanging out with the crime syndicate or something, I think. I can't remember. I was going to pick up those issues, and then I never did. But Amanda Waller, I think, is almost becoming a new Joker in that she's overused, and she just has... her character doesn't feel right. Like, why is Amanda Waller doing multiverse stuff? It's the same issue I have with Spider-Man. Spider-Man! Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He hangs out in Queens and swings through the Bronx and goes to Midtown, and then he also goes to parallel worlds where he fights multiversal traveling vampires. Like, what the fuck? Where did that disconnect come from? And that's the same issue I think I have with Amanda Waller based on reading this. Well, reading this synopsis. Is that, like, why can't Amanda Waller just be a... It's ironic that I'm saying this after I'm complaining about Ernesto de la Cruz's character being a bit more toned down in what I was expecting. But, like, I expect Amanda Waller to be toned down. I expect her to be realistic and deal with normal shit in a, like, a human fashion and, like, not have all this crazy stuff. She has Artemis? What the fuck is it called? Whatever her organization is. Can you tell I've had an energy drink that has a lot more caffeine than usual? So I don't think I like this direction that they're taking with Amanda Waller, and it's no doubt because of her success via, I just had her name on the tip of my tongue. I was about to say it. Fuck, who? I don't remember who. I wasted my one Google making sure that Casey Kasem played Shaggy. Now I can't remember the actor's name who plays her in the DC films and the shows. That's gonna kill me. Let me know in the comments. Okay, but let me just get right into this. So this is like a prelude. Amanda Waller thinks superpowers are no good. She gets the help from a bunch of brainiacs, Green Arrow, and a character named Dreamer, who, if I remember correctly, is I want to just say she's a transgender character who originated on Supergirl on the CW. I think that's who that character is. And she gets all of them to come and join her to make a prison for metahumans, because she's like, the only way to save this world is to get rid of metahumans. Human supremacy! Batman and Failsafe, that stupid fucking story by Chip Zdarsky, where he makes an evil robot version of himself. I would have enjoyed Failsafe more if he looked like this toy. If you're listening to this, it is a toy, I think, based on the 1966 Batman comic series that DC was publishing a couple years ago. It's just a silly-looking sort of 60s sci-fi robot with a big Batman cowl on top of it. If Failsafe looked like that, I think I'd like him more. But as it stands, he's just a dumb, edgy robot Batman. So she gets him to join after that whole Batman rigmarole. Brainiac... This is so fucking ridiculous. Brainiac makes Brainiac Queen to, quote, experience the feeling of love he lost during his previous planetary invasions. So Brainiac is like... invading planets and stealing cities, just... I do it time and again. I just don't get the same feeling I used to. I think I need a lady in my life. And eventually, Queeniac, as I call her in my notes, is recruited by Waller after gaining amnesia. Something happens, Brainiac wipes her mind or gives her amnesia, however that works, and Amanda Waller, I don't know, finds her strolling the streets. Absolute power number 1. Superman gets shot. Animal Man and seemingly Animal Girl are beaten in a park like Rain in the X-Men comics. There are AI deepfake videos of superheroes committing crimes created by Queeniac on the behalf of Amanda Waller to discredit superheroes. Then there's an army of Amazos that are created, and they depower Superman, Superboy, Jonathan Kent, Wally West, Jay Garrick, Bart Allen, the whole JSA, Aquaman, Tempest, and the Doom Patrol. For some reason, who are the current Doom Patrol that they're getting depowered? What happens to Robot Man? Do they just flip a switch and literally depower him? I feel like most of the Doom Patrol probably are okay with that. Like, they're the ones who don't want to go back to the status quo. Waller has, get this. Okay, remember how I was saying how, like, Amanda Waller seems like they've made her overstep her bounds as, like, a character by getting too ridiculous and, like, comic booky? That's something I really liked about the original Amanda Waller, is that she is dealing with these fucking Silver Age, spandex-clad, dumb supervillains who can only exist in a comic universe, and then she's there, and it's like she just fucking came in from the real world. And she's like, fucking straight-to-business military person who doesn't take jack or shit from anybody, and she now has to deal with this dumb comic book logic world. But now Amanda Waller has locked down the multiverse, the time stream, the microverse, and planet Earth itself. She has made some agreements and allies with people who can do all of these things. Also, Jonathan Kent becomes a cyborg. Issue 2. Superhero resistance forms. Fortress of Solitude explodes. The Kandorians are released, and they attack Queeniac as a bunch of heroes escape to the Phantom Zone. I don't know why that is a thing, because in the Wikipedia notes, at least, it just doesn't come up again. Because they say, oh, these characters escape to the Phantom Zone. I guess they just immediately come back out again, because it's never brought up, and those heroes are brought up again later. 3. Issue 3. On the Wikipedia page, the Amazos are occasionally referred to as Amazon robots. The Amazon robots attack. Bart Allen steals kryptonite from the Fortress of Solitude's ruins. Quote, Amanda Waller is enraged that the Amazo robots are gaining morality. There's so many great quotes in this episode that I'm reading off. John and Queeniac attack Themyscira. Aquaman and some others attack Waller's HQ, or at least one of her bases. Green Arrow, who is still working for Waller, his motivations are still a mystery. Oh, Black Canary's trying to figure it out why her hubby is working for Waller. I thought possibly he's from another multiverse or something, and he replaced, like, the main one or something without them knowing. Nightwing, Mr. Terrific, and Artemis free Jonathan Kent from Queeniac's control somehow, and they defeat her by showing her that Amanda Waller is the true villain. Batman and Superman then teleport Queeniac to Pluto. And Barry Allen discovers that there's a multiversal army in Amanda Waller's basement. Mark Waid, I love you. What is this? Number 4, final issue. Heroes full-on attack Waller's base on Gamora Island. If that sounds familiar, you might be an Authority fan. It's that big island of, like, in, like, Southeast Asian Ocean or something, where all those weird clone supervillains attack the world and the capitals of the world, like Moscow, New York, whatever else. Washington, I don't fucking know. Yeah, it's that. The multiversal army fights Barry and Hal. Green Arrow reverses the superpower thing from the Amazon bots, and Failsafe is deactivated, and everybody gets their powers back. Wally and Jay Garrick combine their willpower with Hal Jordan's to hold off the multiversal army. Now, if Hal Jordan... I just don't... I don't like that, because that doesn't make any sense. Like, it couldn't at least have been some other Green Lanterns? Like, where's Simon Baz, the Green Lantern who has a handgun? Where's... the two new girl ones. Where's Guy Gardner? Where's Jon Stewart? Where's Kyle? Why was it Wally and Jay Garrick who somehow combined their will powers are strong enough to become processed into the Green Lantern? Like, what is happening? Green Arrow is revealed to be a double agent who, get this, not from another universe. Instead, he had Martian Manhunter put a telepathic imprint into his mind to make Waller's telepaths believe that he believed in her cause. Quote, Barry is forced to sever the Earth's connection to the multiverse to stop Waller's army, end quote. Whatever that means. Another great quote from the Wikipedia page. Quote, Waller goes on a rant on how she won by manipulating the world to hate metahumans, but Nightwing recorded her tirade and broadcast it around the world so everybody knows the truth, just like the end of COCO. They no longer have access to the multiverse. Again, for now, Barry doesn't have the Speed Force for some reason. Waller gets sent to Belle Reve. The heroes also, this is just like a footnote in this description. Apparently heroes had their powers mixed with other heroes when they got their powers back. And the Justice League is reformed. Everything I just read to you, the only pertinent aspect is that the Justice League reformed. Because that's the only fucking thing that carries over to what I'm about to talk to next, which is DC Special, DC All In. Now, DC All In begins after the Justice League has been reformed, and they've created a new massive watchtower base up in space. It's a happy-go-lucky, jolly opening. Oh, ha ha ha, we're superheroes again! And Booster Gold is the hero of this book, and oh, he gets invited by Superman to join the Justice League, and he and Skeets go to the watchtower, and then Darkseid shows up, and he has a sickle hand and a cape, and apparently he's bonded with the Spectre, and as soon as he appears, he just immediately blows up. And he has left the universe, apparently, leaving a little tear in the fabric of reality behind. And they make a big point of showing that there's a Justice League identification card that was near to Darkseid that got imbued with his evil Darkseid energy. So I can only assume that at some point in the future, someone is going to make a big splash page of Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman or some character that's integral to the story, ripping it in half, like, just super dramatically. This then establishes the Alpha World / Elseworld, which is the absolute universe. And it is a universe that radiates with the energy of Darkseid. They know a little bit about it, not much. Booster Gold volunteers to go through the weird little tear in reality because they make this whole thing. I didn't bother. I actually read this issue. I didn't give a shit to pay much attention to why he has to go, but it's like, okay, time travelers can go through the tear in reality or something, so he goes through, and he finds a giant Omega symbol on the Daily Planet in a hellish version of Earth, and then he is attacked by the Darkseid Corps / Legion, who are just, I don't even know what characters they're supposed to be. They look so weird and different, but there's like a massive Darkseid in the distance, and he's looking down on Booster Gold, and like all these like twisted and dark versions of the heroes are going to attack him. It's some sort of dark multiverse. Then we get a flashback and discover what the fuck is going on. Darkseid seeks to find something beyond the multiverse after the multiverse is severed from this version of reality. He cuts off his hand as a sacrifice, which, if it's not influenced and inspired by Odin sacrificing his eye on Yggdrasil, the world tree, he uses his blood to power the Miracle Machine, which I forgot to look up because I recognize that name. I just can't remember what other stuff it's been in. Then what happens? Then Calabac and the other higher-ups of Apocalypse shows up. Darkseid says he doesn't need him anymore. And Then he kills Calabac. He sacrifices his son to the machine. Darkseid then searches hell and heaven until he finds Jim Corrigan the Spectre. He brings him to the Miracle Machine and forces the Spectre to bond into Darkseid. And eventually he allows himself to die and blow up on the Watchtower. I don't know why he had to go there. I guess just to show them that this is what he's doing. No, I do know why he went there. Because we need the story to happen. That's why this happens. Is because we need the story to happen. He then reconstitutes into a new blazing form of existence and creates his own reality where, quote, hope is the underdog. Heroes in this world are the minority instead of just outright non-existing. He is seemingly a full-on god here. More so, I suppose, than he is normally. So why does he still let Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, why does he still let all this stuff exist? Why? If he's seemingly maybe not the full-on creator of this new world, but has taken all... Let's look at how the new Ultimate Marvel Universe did this, shall we? Reed Richards, the Maker, makes a portal and a device, a giant machine that creates miracles, if you will. And he finds a new reality, unbeholden to anything else. And he goes there, and he enacts his will upon that reality to make himself the pure controller. He undoes most of the Fantastic Four. He keeps Captain America frozen. He kills Wolverine. Does some stuff to the Hulk to keep him under his control. He plans and he formulates and he rewrites that reality, whether it be metaphysically or just downright historical and physically, to his every whim, to the point in modern day, he controls everything. The world of that reality is totally unlike our own. Darkseid does not do any of that. This immortal, multiversal being. Most of my Darkseid knowledge, really, and inspiration and interest, comes from Jack Kirby's books and Grant Morrison's books. Darkseid was essentially a despotic coward, really. When Apocalypse is under revolt in The Hunger Dogs, he fucking runs away. And then he and Orion get into a shootout. And then afterward, it's... Grant Morrison comes in and they're like, oh, well, Darkseid is actually a multiversal being, and all of the new gods, actually, what we see as the new gods in the DC universe, they're actually just sort of suits. They're fiction suits. Like the fiction suit that I created for myself to speak to Animal Man in my comic. And that's not actually them. They're actually a multiversal entity from a higher dimension, far greater, 10th and up dimensions, and when they enter that reality, that's the form that they take is Darkseid and Orion and the new gods and the Apocalypse and all this. So that's my understanding of Darkseid. Seemingly, the DC has just undone everything with that, and that's why I don't bother reading anything that has to do with Darkseid anymore. Needless to say, Mullerville did it better. Darkseid says that he'll grow immeasurably powerful and return to the previous world to destroy it. And that's how it ends. Then we go into Ultimate... No, not Ultimate. It's silly me. Then we go into Absolute Batman. Number 1. Alfred Pennyworth is a secret agent getting intelligence on this gang called the Party Animals, who wear black gorilla skull masks. The Party Animals are quoted to have raised murder rate by 700%. It's noted that they have recently been just randomly murdering people. They were burning down, they burnt down an orphanage and killed like 30 kids as they all danced outside. It's just, look how edgy and evil this gang are that are led by the Black Mask. Bruce Wayne is a giant in this universe, as has already been established. He works out at Waylon's gym, and Waylon, who is not a crocodile man, he's just a big black guy. He walks around with a crocodile in hand and like a big anaconda boa constrictor snake around his neck, like a feather boa. And because apparently their friend Ozzy got him an exotic animal license. Then it's revealed that Bruce Wayne is childhood friends with Waylon, and we see a photograph on the wall as he's leaving the gym with a bunch of kids on there. There's 6 kids in this photo. Obviously, based on the dialogue, we can infer 2 of them are Bruce and Waylon. Who are the others? Well, let's look at the obviously drawn child versions of the characters. Oh, look, the one girl has cat ears on her head. I wonder who that is. Probably Selena Kyle. One of them is kind of angular and has a weird swept bangs that are sharp and rigid, kind of like the Penguin usually has in the younger versions of him that we see. I bet that's Ozzy the Penguin. Oh, the one in the back is redheaded and has eyeglasses? That's the Riddler, I'd imagine. And then, ooh, who's that? There's another kid that they were all friends with who is sort of hunched over and laughing. It's the Joker. Oh my goodness, what a twist of turns. All of absolute Batman's villains that we'd expect are actually his childhood friends. How is that going to arise, and how is he going to deal with that should they ever take to super villainy? Villainry? Like I said, Black Mask is connected to the party animals, and he runs a global animal masked themed cartel or something. And he also has mutant octopus children. I like that. I like how weird that is. It's not explained. It's not brought up or anything. It's just Black Mask wears a big old helmet, and he has a couple of weird mutant octopus people, one of which is his child. Mayor Gordon is shot by the party animals during a city hall meeting. Barbara Gordon is a cop. Batman arrives on the scene, followed by Alfred. Alfred is ordered to engage with Batman as Batman just brutalizes the party animals gang. He and Alfred have a brief fight, and then Batman escapes. And then we get a flashback. Bruce Wayne's father was a teacher, and they took the class to a trip to the zoo. Bruce was obsessed with the bat exhibit or something. And then a mass shooting happened, and Bruce's father died, saving the kids. Alfred immediately deduces that Batman is the civil engineer Bruce Wayne, because there's no other 7.5-foot tall jacked man in all of existence. Also, here's the kicker, Martha Kent still alive. So, seemingly because Superman is an adult when he arrives on Earth, they aren't going to do the Martha and John Kent thing, so let's do it with Batman. Alfred then tracks Bruce to his hideout, which is currently the unused high levels of just skyscrapers, kind of like what the Court of Owls did in the normal universe. Batman shoots Alfred with a shotgun, which he modified after he stole, I guess, because Batman also stole Alfred's motorcycle. So he shoots him with a shotgun that he modified with beanbags, and then rides the motorcycle out of the building. 70 stories in the air, maybe probably higher, because they're above the clouds in the art. It's just so dumb. Epilogue happens. Alfred's previous target that he got sent away from in the Philippines, that he got sent to deal with this Gotham thing after he's been tracking this other target for several years. We learned that he studied with Henry Ducard and the League of Assassins before this target killed all of them. And it's the terrible Joker tease at the very end. I'm sure you're very familiar with it. It's fucking stupid. This is my first note. I did not enjoy it. I don't like this Absolute Batman. I didn't really have any... I like the art, I guess. I like the Black Mask design. I don't care for anything else. Absolute Batman, when they've been hyping it up this whole time, they've been making it seem like... oh, well, he's just a regular guy who doesn't have all the money and the gear and all the crazy stuff that regular Batman has. But he is! He's just regular Batman with slightly different crazy equipment and shit, and he's like 8 feet tall. He's studied like, all this different crazy shit. He studied all this engineering, all this mechanical circuitry, micro whatever. He knows how to fight, like, 3 different forms of combat, or 4, just like a handful of different forms of combat. He can do all this shit. He never traveled the world. He learned it all at the library or something. It's just regular Batman, but big, is what Absolute Batman is. And I am not a fan. I'm not going to continue reading this. Especially because I had to read it online, because everywhere was either sold out or asking way too much money when it was up for pre-order. Now we get to Absolute Wonder Woman #1, because Absolute Superman isn't coming out yet. Absolute Wonder Woman #1 by Kelly Thompson. Oh, I should note that Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta did the work on writing and art respectively. On Absolute Batman #1, I can't remember who the colorist is or the letter or anything like that, so I apologize. Absolute Wonder Woman #1, I know even less about the cast or the creators. I do know that Kelly Thompson is the writer. I love Kelly Thompson. I love all of her work, especially the Kate Bishop Hawkeye stuff. Fantastic. Captain Marvel, some Deadpool stuff that I've read of hers. She did a Black Widow series that I never read, but I've seen good things. I do own her Captain Marvel Omnibus. Still haven't got around to reading it yet, but I need to. I love Kelly Thompson. I think she's great. I really need to check out her Birds of Prey series, because that's something that I wanted to get into, and then I just completely forgot about. So Kelly Thompson, if you're watching this, like I'm sure you are, I love your work, and I'm sorry that I haven't read enough of it. So, Gateway City, California. I'll be like Rob Liefeld and do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. A massive triangular chunk of rock appears, and thousands of horrible dinosaur demon monster things erupt from it and attack the city. That's like kind of like Coast City meets San Francisco, I guess, is what this is supposed to be. I don't recognize Gateway City. I don't know if that's a pre-established thing. But this scene very much reminds me of New Frontier by Darwin Cook, which has a very similar event that happens. Then Wonder Woman appears, kills all the monsters on her skeletal Pegasus, and she uses her magic to like explode all the rest of them. Flashback. Diana was taken from the Amazonians as a baby, as punishment, by Zeus, and then given to Circe to raise in hell. And deep within the bowels of hell, where Circe is trapped and imprisoned, they're on a singular little island on this like dead, horrible black sea. So that's where Diana grows up. I thought that was pretty cool. Who doesn't? Neat idea. She's a magical witch raised in hell. And I can't remember which Greek god it is that drops her off to Circe, but he says that the word Amazon is banned. Circe can't say it. Every time she says it out loud, it's just a bunch of scratches in the word balloon. I thought that was an interesting idea and a unique way to sort of, in a meta-textual way, lean into this new magical hellish version of Wonder Woman. Like, oh my god, she's like, they're really pushing the fact that like, no, she's not really an Amazon anymore because she was raised in hell. She's something totally different. She's a witch. She's a magical sorceress, whatever. Then a few pages later, Diana learns that she's an Amazon because I guess Circe wrote it on a piece of paper or something. Because she can't say it, but that didn't stop her from writing it down. And Diana learns she's an Amazon. She learns all of her backstory a few pages later. And she's like, I am the last of the Amazons, because the Amazons are, it's kind of implied that they were enslaved sexually by Zeus. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, or maybe I know enough about Zeus to assume that's what he'd do. And Diana is wielding the blade of Athena and referencing Greek gods and like all this other stuff. So she just becomes regular Wonder Woman at the end of this first issue. She's just regular Wonder Woman, but edgier and more brutal than the normal one. And her lasso also glows red instead of gold. Which, at this point, why? What's the point? Because, like, even her dialogue on the very last page It's very Wonder Woman. It's very in character with who she is. Kelly Thompson understands that character's core. She knows what Wonder Woman is. She does a good job writing her. But at this point, why not just have her do the primary Wonder Woman book? Why give her this crazy new fucking universe version of her if it's just gonna be normal Wonder Woman? Presumably, something is gonna happen. We're gonna see more of her character, and she's gonna change and become different. Or not. Maybe it'll be an Ultimate Spider-Man version, where it's just kind of the same character. Why? What would be the point of that if, like, Ultimate Absolute Flash comes out. Oh, it's Barry Allen. He works as a police forensics expert, and one night he got struck by evil red dark side lightning instead of regular lightning, and now he can enter the evil Speed Force, but he's still a good man at heart, and his mom is alive, or his dad is alive. I don't fucking know. Like, what's the point? We got the Martian Manhunter thing, the Absolute Martian Manhunter reveal, which is that seemingly unique. John Jones is a real man who gets some sort of, it's like almost like a symbiote style thing where he gets infected with an alien parasite that is the Martian Manhunter. So that can take it in a new unique way, but like, what the fuck is this? What are they doing? How planned out was this? Because it doesn't feel very planned out. The fucking Absolute Power was nothing. That was a stupid fucking event. DC All In, boring, dumb, nonsensical bullshit. Why? Why did it have to be regular Darkseid? Why not just fucking establish that there's another universe where Darkseid reigns and he unlocked the fucking I can't remember what it is. The anti-life equation like eons ago. So we don't even know what normal reality would have looked like in this world. Like billions of years before even Superman would have been born, Darkseid gets the anti-life equation. He reconstructs the universe to his own whim. Now it's this fucked up dark visage where superheroes are weak and the bad is good, and it's essentially the crime syndicate. Like, what's all this stuff about, like, Darkseid sacrificing the blood from his hand and killing Calabac and then exploding, and, like, that doesn't really do anything. It just opens a tear in reality, like I said, because that's what they need to have happen. And seemingly this is going to build up to some other event where the universes cross over and they all fight Darkseid, and the Absolute guys go back to their Absolute universe and they work on reforming it into a better reality after they see what reality can look like, i.e. the new normal DC universe where the Justice League are a thing. And maybe that's when Wonder Woman and Absolute Superman and Absolute Batman, they formulate the Justice League after they meet the real Justice League, and they're like, wow, we can save this world now that we defeated one-handed Darkseid. I don't care. I might keep reading Absolute Wonder Woman, because like I said, I like Kelly Thompson. That's the one I enjoyed the most of this. But what the fuck? What is this? Because then I also have to talk about the Absolute Superman #1 teaser. Krypton is an ecumenopolis, which is a planet-wide city. Because, hey, what a unique idea. Make Krypton a horrible dystopia of technological devilry. Kal-El's Kryptonian parents are simple farmers instead. Wow, whoa, what a twist. Who could have come up with something so devious and twisted and new? Just what the fuck? Like, this seems like wasted potential. Like, wow, look how badass it is. Batman has a giant axe on his chest, which weighs who knows how many pounds. Superman's cape is made out of the dust of Krypton. Wonder Woman is a magical witch from hell who just kind of acts like normal Wonder Woman. Wow. Really, really reinvigorated the brand, didn't you guys? Ooh, this is extreme cool. Good job, Scott Snyder. needless to say, I haven't really enjoyed Scott Snyder's works recently. It's too leaning into crossbones and skulls are badass. You know, that kind of dumb stuff. It's not for me. But if it's for you, that's fine. Personally, none of this is for me because it's, I don't know, it's just not, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it. Like I said, I feel like it's wasted potential. I feel like there's more that could have been done here. There's more that could have been said here about what it means to, like, be a hero, what it means to persevere in the face of all of this. Like, maybe one day, maybe they'll get there. It's only the first issue. Let's say that. It's only the first issue that these things have come out. But I don't think it's going to go in any interesting directions other than look at how crazy this reinvented version of this character is. I saw a great thread on Twitter, X, or maybe it was Threads, I can't remember, about the differences between Brian Michael Bendis's idea for creating in the Ultimate Universe and Mark Millar's idea of creating the Ultimate Universe. And Brian Michael Bendis, he would take the core of the characters and just, like, think of a new way to reinterpret them in a way that still works in line with them, but it's something new, it's something different, it's a new version. Mark Millar, on the other hand, was like, well, what if I just do all this crazy stuff, call him the Hulk, and hey, it still passes as the Hulk. Just how much can we change and still just give him the same costume is essentially what it came down to. And that's what this is. It's just, it's not good, I don't think. At least not yet. Maybe one day it'll be very well regarded. It'll have crazy, unique stories that are wholly unlike anything we've seen from the normal DC universe. Something that really, it's thought-provoking, it's emotional, it's quality storytelling. But at the get-go, this first stone that we're stepping on this path leading us into the absolute universe, it's a very rickety stone. It's a stone that as we step on it, it just kind of crumbles a little bit and cracks and shifts. And I'm unsure if I want to continue this path forward. Now we get on to the New York Comic Con stuff. DC Comics announces Peacemaker presents the Vigilante and EAGLY double feature, which is going to be a 5-issue comic series by Tim Seeley, Mitch Gerards, I'm not sure, Rex Ogle, and Matteo Lolli. James Gunn will serve as story consultant, and it is officially set in the DC universe because it is taking place before Peacemaker Season 2. So, I like that. I really dig the idea of this, because Marvel, the MCU, kind of did that with their prelude to the movies. They kind of stopped doing it around Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming. I think were probably some of the last ones that had those prelude comics, and they were the most worthless comics you could ever read, because they did nothing. It was just so stupid and such a waste of time to even bother reading them. But with this, I like this. I like this because it seems like it's a unique story, and it's something new, and it just adds to the universe. It's world building, and I love world building. Daredevil Born Again is officially set. This isn't really in any particular order, so I apologize. Daredevil Born Again will officially premiere on March 4th on Disney+. Supergirl is set to begin filming January 2025 in the UK. And I just now realized that I have yet to watch the Creature Commandos official trailer. So I don't know really what it's about. I know it's animated. I think I've read some rumors about what is happening in it, but it's been a while. It's something to do with a fairy princess in some European country that the Task Force X, whatever, Creature Commandos have to deal with. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited for that as well. I really like how they're using these different mediums and aspects now to tell this story. Spawn 77 was announced from McFarlane, and that is seemingly a groovy, hip, and happening Spawn that was in the 70s before Al Simmons became Spawn in the 90s. And the design of it is based on Todd McFarlane's original sketch of Spawn that he did when he was in high school. It's a weird... I'm looking at the action figure I have over here of it. It's a weird look. He almost has, like, weird goggle head face. It's just odd looking, but the cover's beautiful. I dig that it's seemingly going to be a period piece, because why else would it be called Spawn 77? And I'm actually looking forward to it. I feel like I might actually check it out. If anything, just to get the book to have that cover piece. I might frame it like I have those Kate Bishop Hawkeye comics and the X-Men Rogue and Gambit wedding issue framed up in the background here. A new comic series called Daredevil Cold Day in Hell has been announced from Steve McNiven and Charles Soule. The series is in the spirit of Old Man Logan. Boo! And it follows a grizzled, older, and powerless version of Matt Murdock, who's no longer Daredevil, but still is the Man Without Fear. Boo! It's Spider-Man Reign, but with Daredevil. Who cares? Who wants that? Why is Old Man Logan something we are striving for? Why can't we get something else? Hush! Oh my god. This has got to be some sort of sick joke against me personally. Hush 2 was officially announced from Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Alex Sinclair. If you've seen my video on Hush, you'll know I have a very large disdain for it. I hate the book. I think it's a fucking stupid story that's worthless. Not as a form of art or anything, just it's a dumb story. That's why I did the whole video whispering. Just to really make people mad who love that book, just to really show how my disdain for it and indignance toward it. I'm not going to read Hush 2. Don't give a flying fuck about Hush. Ultimate Wolverine was announced, which is really weird when you learn about what this character is. So it's called Ultimate Wolverine, announced at NYCC. It is the next ongoing series coming from the new Ultimate Universe by Chris Condon and Alessandro Cappuccio. Cappuccio? I'm not sure. And it launches in January. Maybe it'll come out on my birthday. Quote, here's the synopsis of it. In order to maintain control of their corner of the Maker's world, 3 members of his council, Magick, Colossus, and Omega Red, deploy their most lethal asset, the Winter Soldier. But who is the weapon behind the mask? See him in action for the first time in a Prelude one-shot. Ultimate Universe 1 year. Ultimate Universe 1 year in number 1? What the fuck does that mean? Which concludes the first year of the Ultimate Universe and sets up the next year of stories. So yeah, the Ultimate Wolverine is actually Ultimate Winter Soldier. Obviously, they're not going to call him Ultimate Winter Soldier because his costume just looks like Wolverine from the Novel Universe with like a full mask, headdress. And Ultimate Winter Soldier isn't going to sell as well as Ultimate Wolverine. Yeah, it's called Ultimate Universe 1 year in number 1. What the fuck is that? What the fuck does that mean? Or what Ultimate... Wait. Oh, I see now. I see what happened. The thing I copied this from didn't capitalize 1 year in. Well, they did. They capitalized 1 and year and not in. So it's Ultimate Universe 1 year in number 1. You can see where the confusion happened. One World Under Doom was announced. An upcoming One World Under Doom event begins February 2025 with Ryan North and R.B. Silva's Rise of Emperor Doom event series. Huh. I wonder what film coming out has inspired this synergistic event. Although it is by Ryan North, and I do love his I do love his Fantastic Four series. An overarching status quo, the likes of which haven't been seen since 2008's Dark Reign, One World Under Doom spins out of Blood Hunt, the Blade event. No doubt in my mind was Blood Hunt meant to be a tie-in for the Blade movie, because it has started around the time that it was originally, the movie was supposed to come out. Wait, where was I? A blood hunt, where Doctor Doom manipulated Doctor Strange into passing him the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme. One world under Doom sees Doom accomplish his ultimate goal at last, as he uses his new power to take over the entire world. Ignore the part where he did that in Secret Wars from 2015. Some would say he did it better there, because he, rewrote the whole multiverse into one planet. While Doom's reign will be felt across the Marvel Universe, Rise of Emperor Doom will go behind the mask to bear witness to the triumphs and trials of Doom's rule, as well as the foolish attempts to topple it. Neat. Cool. Spider-Man gets magic now, too, is something I keep seeing. I don't care. As I mentioned earlier, Absolute Martian Manhunter was announced from writer Denise Camp and artist Javier Rodriguez. The book debuts March and follows John Jones, a detective who finds his mind invaded by an alien entity. And then for some reason, I have more Marvel stuff after this. Just announced! Experience new adventures starring fan favorite and all-new Jedi heroes in Marvel Comics' upcoming Star Wars Jedi Knights by Mark Guggenheim and Madibek Muskabikov. Coming March 2025. Taking place before The Phantom Menace, each issue spotlights a different Jedi on a mission across the galaxy with an overarching threat binding them together. Who is the new villain targeting Qui-Gon Jinn for death, and how will it force the Jedi Order to evolve for a new age? Spoiler alert, they're not going to evolve into a new age, because we already saw, or if they did evolve into the new age, as it says here, and what we see in the movies is them evolved, oh boy, are they going to be rough to witness in this flashback. That might be interesting. I haven't really gotten into the Star Wars comics, especially the new Marvel ones. I got all of the War of the Bounty Hunters books, I think, for some reason. I still haven't read them. So here's a bunch of stuff about Absolute DC. Remember that thing I didn't like? Let's talk about it some more. They revealed Absolute Batmobile, which is seemingly inspired by the crazy monster truck Batmobile from Batman the Cult, which is just an insane design. But this one is one of those giant dump trucks with like the cowl thing on the front, that like triangle thing. Which it seems impractical, because those aren't fast, unless Batman, who again in this universe is just a regular Joe who doesn't have any special powers, he's just a civil engineer who's 9 feet tall, tricked out to go at super speed. Absolute Green Lantern by Al Ewing and Yanoi Lindsay is announced. Al Ewing says Absolute Green Lantern will see him put on a, quote, religious terror hat, describing it as a horror book. Nobody knows what a Green Lantern is in the Absolute Universe. Hal, John, and Guy will be there, but the less we know, the better, according to this note that I stole offline. So it's Al Ewing, so it's gonna be good. I've loved everything Al Ewing has. As you can see, if you're watching the video, I have all 4 issues of his Ant-Man series framed up. I need to get the Ultimate... why do I keep saying Ultimate? I need to get his Wasp issues framed as well. Absolute Flash by Jeff Lemire and Nick Robles. The book follows teenage Wally West, because apparently they want to give the book a more youthful vibe. Ultimate Spider-Man! There has never been a Flash before, so Wally is going to be the first one as a teenager. Absolute Wonder Woman writer Kelly Thompson's idea was for Diana to have a black Pegasus and a giant sword, which I guess they did. The original idea was an axe, but then Batman had an axe. This is the dumbest thing I've read. So it went back to a sword. Fuck me, man. How fucking stupid is that? Because I copied this directly from like a post online from some DC big page online that was sharing this. Was this live streamed anywhere? Because I would have loved to have seen the Absolute panel, which I assume had all of the creators up there answering questions or something. And I can only picture they're going down the line, and then, like, someone comes up and finally asks Kelly Thompson a question, but then it's like,
Kelly Thompson, Miss Femoid, well, what was your original idea for Wonder Woman to have as her, weapon of choice?
And then Kelly Thompson, I imagine, just sighs heavily and explains how she wanted her to have an axe and then a sword, and then they move on or something. But apparently, Diana has a magic pouch, and this book will shine light on aspects of Diana's character that haven't been amplified before. Artist Hayden Sherman, there's the artist, says this is wildly different. Well, no fucking shit. These are the worst notes I've ever stolen for this podcast. It has a creator-owned feel to it? I don't think so. But it's the Diana we all know and love, full of passion. Like I said, that's seemingly the book that I am currently interested in the most. That, and I suppose the Green Lantern one. Absolute Superman writer Jason Aaron says that this version of Superman is a bit Mowgli? M-O-G-L-E-Y? What the fuck does that mean? Like from the Jungle Book? Incredibly smart, but also not fully formed and has to learn. Aaron wanted to bring a lot of surprises and says that the first arc is full of nothing but tragedy. Yay! I love my Superman books to be dark, gritty, edgy, and full of tragedy. He also says he'll write it until DC fires him. Great, cool. Absolute Batman creative team, Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta, say all the advice they got was just to swing as big as possible. I can tell. And they showed off the Batmobile. Issue 4 is apparently going to be a deep dive into the origin of the Batman. And we will see Gabriel Walta on art as like is just a fill-in artist. This note tries to make it seem like more fantastical and important than it really. He came in to do some fill-in art for issue 4 because Nick Dragotta needed more time. Absolute Martian Manhunter is announced. Just reading that off again, we got a little more information. The Martians aren't from Mars. Detective Jones has his mind infiltrated, but the only way he can describe it is by saying it's like a Martian. It's a buddy cop feeling, and John Jones questions all his beliefs, slowly going insane in a fun and entertaining way. So yeah, it's like he's like Eddie Brock in the Venom symbiote. Here's some notes from DC's All-In panel. Absolute Power has left some heroes with their powers switched around. Remember when I brought that up nearly almost an hour ago? The main Aquaman book is getting relaunched by Jeremy Adams and John Timms and is released in January. Don't know who either of those gentlemen are. In the wake of Absolute Power, Arthur Curry's powers have evolved to... Oh my god! Get a load of this copy. In the wake of Absolute Power, Arthur Curry's powers have evolved to powerful new heights. Fucking come on, guys. Really? Have some fucking respect. Like, I could get it if you're trying to do something ridiculous and silly, like I'm doing with my book, The Custodians. It's inspired by the 60s, so all the posts and, like, the writing in the books, it's very hokey and, like, Silver Agey and Stanley inspired. But what the fuck is this? I feel like this was in earnest. And they're like, how cool would it be if we lose the word power a bunch? Okay, so his powers evolved to new heights, and this is one king, ready to use them to kick some serious butt. Mammoth water construct kaijus have emerged from each of the 7 seas, and only Aquaman's water warping abilities, asterisk, Arthur and Mara ended up with swapped abilities, can stop them. But not if they kill the good king in the process. Enter Dagon! Dagon, the fucking fish god? Arthur's guide on the quest to unlock the new secrets of the blue. What are they doing? What? What is this? What are they doing with these DC characters? Hal Jordan is apparently going to deal with a broken emotional spectrum. Spectrum and DC Green Lantern's Fractured Spectrum coming January. Superman is dealing with a newly powered Lois Lane. That'll be interesting, I guess. We kind of saw that in Grant Morrison. Hey, look, another great idea they took from Grant Morrison's books. By Joshua Williamson and Dan Mora. Lois... Oh, it's Dan Mora. He draws fantastic women. Lois got her powers from the Absolute Power switch-up. It's a mystery whose powers they were previously. Oh, God. Lex Luthor is going to get his own special revealing how he lost his memories. When did Lex Luthor lose his memories? That wasn't in the Wikipedia page I read. Mark Waid and Dan Mora are working on a new book called Justice League Unlimited, which will hit shelves in late November. Wow, Dan Mora's doing a fair amount, which leads me to believe he's going to leave one of these books, or one of these books is going to get delayed. It's a new era for Action Comics. Clayton Henry will join Mark Waid and says that he's been waiting 8 years to draw Superman. Quote, this run of Action Comics will reveal a lot of unknown details about the Phantom Zone. There will also be some Supergirl backup stories that tie into some classic Supergirl lore. Like she has a horse that's in love with her, maybe. I do like the idea of backup stories. I think backup stories are something that need to come back, because it's a great way to introduce new talent to readers, is you have a short, I don't know how long, 5 to 10 page story maybe, in the back, have a different writer and different artist in each issue. That's a really great way to start introducing new talent and new creators to the fucking comic book audience that hate change. In Justice League, the Atom Project, Captain Atom takes the center stage. What does the universe have in store for the explosive hero as he tries to return powers to the people who lost them? Who gives a shit? Tom King tells fans that the next story arc of his Wonder Woman run, I forgot he's doing that. Oh, that's why they didn't give Kelly Thompson Wonder Woman's, because Tom King wanted to write it. Wonder Woman has Diana taking care of her newborn Trinity while the Wonder Girls do work. Who cares? Ram V. Is it? Okay, here's the thing. Is it Ram V or is it Ram? Ram or Ram? How do you pronounce it? Because I feel like everybody says Ram V, but I don't know where he's from. I think it's somewhere in Europe, so I feel like it might be Ram. Anyway, he's doing a New Gods book for DC that everybody's excited about. He's been working on it for the past 3 years, and the focus on it will be Highfather being at a crossroads. Now that Darkseid is dead, a new dark forces are trying to fill the power vacuum. So that's everybody but Calabac. I might pick that up. The art's good. I like Ram V's work. But again, like I said, my idea of the New Gods is firmly planted with Jack Kirby and Grant Morrison. So I'm one of those comic book lovers, readers who hates change. Al Ewing is doing a Metamorpho book called Metamorpho the Elephant Man in December. Jeff Lemire is writing Justice Society of America in November, and he says that it's his dream book because he loved JSA reprints in the 70s when he was growing up. And he takes their placement in this new era very seriously. Wait, what? Fucking Christ alive, man. These people need to learn how to fucking write, dude. Here's the whole note that I stole off of a Facebook post from one of those big DC pages that, covers all this stuff. Because I don't have the money to go to New York Comic Con. I'm on the other side of the country. I can't be there to take all these notes for my viewers of this low-running podcast. Here's the whole thing. Jeff Lemire is writing Justice Society of America this November. Lemire says the JSA is his dream book. His first comics were 1970s JSA reprints. He takes the responsibility of their placements in this new area very seriously. That's what the first arc will cover. The first arc covers their placement in this new era? What does that mean? Because they're already in this era, seemingly, because they were a part of Absolute Power. I don't fucking know. And that's it. We're done. Done talking about DC. For now. For a while? I don't know. Join me next week when I talk about some horror movies. One of the longest running episodes thus far. We're coming in just under 2 hours. Let me know what you thought if you made it this far. Did you read any of the Absolute stuff? What are your thoughts? Probably differing from my opinions, I'd imagine. Not looking forward to it, honestly. Green Lantern, Absolute Green Lantern, I'm interested in. Al Ewing, can't go wrong there. Love Kelly Thompson, like I said, so I am interested to see where she goes with Wonder Woman. She can do some great stuff. Martian Manhunter might be interesting. The art style is very different, so I might like that. Absolute Superman, don't give a shit. Absolute Batman, don't give a shit. Wally West Flash might be interesting, but it can go either way. Again, it's like... What's the theme here? Because they made Absolute Universe... They said they wanted to reinvent all these characters, and then they're like, oh, it's actually a super grim and gritty new world where Darkseid reigns, and Darkseid's energy manifests in everything that exists. But then they're like, oh, well, the Absolute Flash, it's actually a youthful tale about a teenage boy who becomes a superhero. What? Oh, my God. I've been talking about this stuff for way too long. Let me know any of your thoughts on anything I discussed in this episode. As always, follow me on Instagram at NotBlakeWild. Check out more episodes of the podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, just about anywhere podcasts are held, except for Apple Podcasts, because I hate Apple, and it's far too much of a hassle to set up the accounts. What else? Check out my Etsy shop, BlakeTWild.etsy.com, to pick up my comics, Destructiboy and the Custodians Agents of Cross. Every purchase of a comic comes with a free sketch, so if you buy both issues of the Custodians, you're getting 2 free head sketches of any character of your choosing. I can do Absolute Batman. I can do Absolute Wonder Woman. I can do Homer Simpson. I don't fucking know. Check out my Patreon, of course, where you can check out all my comics available on there. You get early access to videos when available, movie commentaries, stuff like that I need to get more back into. And, yeah, I think that's it for now. Like I said, join me next week when I talk about, probably not too much, mostly just my top 10 favorite horror movies, I think is what I'm going to do, since it's Halloween next week. And I will see you all next time. Bye!